I was talking to this girl one day. I met up with this girl, and when I got there, I went in for the hug. I was like, hey, how are you? And from that point on, I did not know what to say. And she started carrying the entire convo. She started telling stories. And I was just like, yeah. And I had no words were coming out of my mouth. My brain just couldn't seem to generate any ideas. But I've improved on that so much because now I don't even struggle to hold a conversation. I don't struggle to put in that effort. And here's some photos with my friends and I. By the end of this video, you're gonna know exactly how you can have amazing conversation. But by the way, bro, I'm gonna be uploading a ton of value that I don't share on YouTube on my Instagram. So click the link in the description now and follow me there at FinnIman. You can message me if you need any personal help, and I'll work super fucking hard to make sure you make some really good friends. Because I remember when I was lonely, I would wake up, I would go to school, but every day would be so horrible because I just didn't have friends. I was always sad. Back to the video. This one time I was hanging out with this girl, right? And the first time I ever met her, she was like, yo, what's up? Are you Finn, right? I was like, yeah, I'm Finn. Oh, what's your name? And we introduced each other. And immediately she's like, oh, did you see what was going on up there? And she segued and started telling an entire story. And I was like, oh yeah. And I was really fucking interested. This other time I was hanging out with her, and my friend was by my left and she was with some of her friends a couple meters in front of me. And she started singing the fucking alphabet. And my friend, he was taking the piss out of it. And this other time I was hanging out with her at the beach, and she would just always talk stories about what was going on in her life. She'd always openly talk about what was going on. Like, third period, that girl was being such a bitch. You know? And the thing is, bro, I genuinely really enjoyed her company. I thought she was a super social person and that she was super fun to be around. And she taught me that you should talk about whatever you want to talk about. You should be open to speaking about yourself, because she did it and she was one of the most when she did it, it seemed like everybody really loved her for it. And I realized that I was no different. This one time I was walking to one of my classes with this guy, and I was like, oh yeah, what's going on, mate? We were having like a brief chat. I was like, oh, what sport do you do? But we were walking a bit more and the conversation went dead silent. I'd put in the effort to speak, but it had gone quiet. That fucking awkward silence got me again. But this time, I didn't really care, because a few days ago, I'd been watching some YouTube and somebody was like, don't worry about silence. And so I kept walking and I was like, you know what, it's fine, it doesn't matter. And I fully zoned out. I was looking in the grass. I was like, oh yeah, it's a nice day. And after about 20 seconds, after not speaking, I was so relaxed that my brain generated more ideas for us to talk about. And we continued the conversation and had a really good chat. But I remember this time, once before, when I wanted to go and speak to this girl. And so in class I was thinking, like, my conversation started to, here's number 3. I wasn't paying attention to the teaching or the class or any of that. That was the only thing that was in my mind. And so after class we were walking a bit, and I used my first 2 conversation starters pretty fast. And on the dragging it out a bit, I was trying to, and so what did you think about that? And I was trying to drag it out because I didn't really have anything else to talk about. And I used my final conversation starter. But guess what? We were still hundreds of meters away from where we needed to be. And so I used it, and then the conversation started to slow down and it started to get really awkward. I started to get really nervous, and that's when it went completely fucking silent. The fucking awkward silence, it got me. But I stressed the fuck out. I had not watched a YouTube video this time. And I ended up fumbling my words, getting really nervous, stuttering a shit ton, and in the end just saying after 20 seconds of awkward silence. And the thing is, the difference between these 2 stories, I was comfortable with silence in the first and uncomfortable in the second. And the silence happened anyways, right? But what I found was really interesting was that when you were fine with the silence, I started a conversation afterwards, which made it so that it felt like the silence never happened, because we ended up having a good chat. But that only happened because I was completely fine with our conversation going silent. There was a time for a few months every day I would wake up, I would go to school, I would come back home, and I would literally just do a bit of work and go to sleep, or play some video games every afternoon. But I literally went out to the gym 2 or 3 times. The first time I went out, I was in the change room and I was like, yo, what's up, bro? How you doing? And there was this like big Asian guy. I was like, nice to meet you, man. And we ended up having a really nice chat. And the next time I went to the gym, there was these 2 guys who were like a bit younger than me, and they were getting in the gym. I was like, yeah, good on you boys, good on you getting in the gym, really happy for you. And we had a really nice chat too. And so on top of that, there was this one night where I'd gone out with a bunch of my friends, and area where there's tons of people who go to this place where we went, but we were at this smaller area at that place. And I was talking to these 3 girls with like by my side, And I was throwing out a joke, everybody was laughing, we were standing in a circle, and this one girl, she was hitting on me and everything, and it was in this moment where I just zoned out. Because I was having the best time this night. I was smiling, I was super happy, joking a lot, laughing so much, in the best mood. Felt on top of the world. And I zoned out, and I realized something. You can be the sickest person in the entire world, but if you don't go out, nobody will know. And that's when I realized that it wasn't that I was a weird person. It's just that I wasn't putting in all this time, I wasn't putting in effort to go out and be social. Every time that I did try and be social, it was actually working really well. This one time I was in the gym, and I was there doing my set, and this guy walked in who I'd played basketball with once. And we were like, yo, what's up, bro? It's good to see you. We were hyped. We were like, oh, how long you been going to the gym? And we ended up having a great conversation. We clicked really well. And the reason that I think that happened is because we were both in the gym, and usually people who go to the gym are super kind, and we had a great chat, and it was really easy to connect with them because we were both in the gym. It was such a great conversation starter. Fuck memorizing conversation starters. Just use the surroundings as your conversation starter on the spot. And the thing is, bro, I met so many other guys like this, but it just seemed like whenever I went to the gym, there was always a super kind, hardworking person there. There's this other time when I was really young. I was about 10, 12, and I would go and play cricket every Saturday. I would also go train with them a lot. And when I was with this group, it was really easy to talk to people because they were all doing the same sport as me. It was really easy to connect. Oh, what did you think about that shot I played earlier? Like, it was really easy to talk about because we were both playing the same sport. And during this time, pretty much every Saturday after training, I would be hanging out with a guy for like 6-8 hours. He would come over to my place. We'd play some video games, watch a movie. And this happened pretty much every Saturday. And I realized that because I was going here to this place, playing a sport with people my age, and it was super easy to connect with them. I was making some good friends, even though I was super antisocial. Even though I was a fat, uncoordinated kid, people still managed to make some friends and get along with them. And this one time, there was this party going on. I looked at my phone, Snapchat story from this girl, and the party was, and I really wanted to go to this party. So I messaged my friend, I knew this girl. I was like, yo, can you get me an invite? He's like, yeah, come with me, bro, I'll bring you. And I was really excited for that. But 2 weeks go by and he's going out of the city. So there's a party and I really wanted to go, but now my friend's not going. And I literally messaged him. I said, do you mind if I turn up anyway? And so that's what I did. I showed up and I ended up having a really nice time. I met so many great people. When I first got there, there was this girl and I was like, hey, is this the party and everything? And ended up that me literally just putting in a little bit of effort. What's your name? Introducing myself. I met this really nice girl who I knew for the rest of the night that if I was getting awkward with anybody, I could go and talk to her. And on top of that, after she introduced me to a few people, and from that on, I would meet a bunch of people on that night. And even though I was super awkward, even though I would stand around in circles not saying anything, I still managed to make some good friends that night. And for the next 5 months, it allowed me to do so much fun shit. I snuck out of my house a lot. I went to massive parties and meetups, and all because I turned up to this one party. And so if there's an area in your city where thousands of people your age go out every single Saturday, because there's a place like that in my city, then go, take that opportunity. If there's a party with people your age, go, take that opportunity. Because I could have met people who were more hardworking, who were better tier quality people from that group. I just didn't end up doing that. I picked to hang out with more fun people. But you can always meet really great people from there. And that's what happened to me. And there was this one time I was going out quite fairly often. I was going to the gym, but I was still not talking to anybody. I was still not meeting anybody, introducing myself to anybody new, not getting in any conversations. And I realized that was my problem. Because even if you're going out all the time and you're this awesome guy, well, if you're this awesome guy who doesn't talk to anybody, nobody will know you're an awesome guy. And I was talking to my friend this one day, and he said, yo, bro, I used to be really antisocial. And I said, well, how'd you become really social? How'd you even do that? And he explained to me, he said, well, one day I sat down and I set a goal. I said, I wanted to be more social. And so what he did was, he knew that he was going running 3-4 times a week. So he said to me, on week 1, I planned that I was going to go out and I was going to smile at every person I ran past. And the first time I did it, I was so nervous, so nerve-wracking. I was like, holy shit. And he found it really hard because he was at such a low point that was difficult for him. But he found the easiest task he could do, and he started working on it, and he said after about a week, it was alright. It wasn't as bad as it used to be. It was the best it was the most comfortable I felt socially in my whole life. But then he said week 2, he was going to say hi to every single person he ran past. And to him, this was like a foreign idea. He's like, holy shit, I got to say hi to people. And he would go out running, and every time he ran past someone, he would try and say hi to people. Yeah, sometimes he messed it up, but by the end of the week, he was really comfortable with it. And then the 3rd week, he would run past people, and he would say, hey, how are you? And he was still really uncomfortable with it. But by the end of the week, after he missed it a few times, but he ended up being super comfortable around other people. And he said, at this moment is when everything changed. Because now that I was comfortable saying, hey, how are you? To any random stranger, and I'd been doing it consistently, he found it so easy to get in conversations in class. He started talking to teachers more, and his whole social life changed. Even I noticed when I was talking to him that he was way more articulate. He was holding eye contact better, which he was really bad at before. He had improved himself so much by literally just writing down on a piece of paper, I want to be more social, and then writing a place he was going to go, and then writing a 3-week plan. Week 1, just smile at everybody. And the thing that he specifically did was he made it easy enough for himself to do all these things that he said. Because if it was really easy enough, you would have already done it. So don't set something that's like, oh, go start a conversation with the most beautiful girl in the gym, every single workout. That's bullshit, because how many times have you done it? If it was genuinely easy enough to do, you would have already done it. It reminds me of this time where I was trying to get consistent meditating, and I would try to meditate for 10 minutes every day, and it would happen like 2-3 times a week, but I would just skip it 4 other days a week. But only when I dropped the time to 5 minutes every day consistently did I get consistent, and then quickly I leveled it up. Within a few weeks of being consistent at 5 minutes, I changed it to 10 minutes. And so it taught me that it's better to start small and work yourself up to becoming really social than to start big and fail completely. But I also didn't really do this. I didn't follow that advice that it needs to be easy, and the reason that I didn't follow this advice in a specific situation, which I'm about to share with you, is because I had already had so much experience with being social. And so what happened was, for 5 months I had not gone out. This one night I was on holidays, and I decided to go out for about a week. And this first night I got out, and I was talking to a bunch of people. I met 100 people, got into so many new conversations, but it was really awkward at first. I was really struggling. I was trying to get the ball rolling, but I felt really nervous, I can't lie. But the next week, I did it again. And so in the meantime, I'd been going out, talking to more people, it creeped me out for a bit, I can't lie, but trying to talk to more people every day, get in conversation with more people. And I wasn't at the point where I was so low, where I couldn't even talk to people, where I couldn't even smile and hold eye contact with people running past them. I was not at that point. I was not at that low of a point. But the point that I was at was that I hadn't been social in 5-6 months. Like, conversations felt way harder than they used to. And so this next Saturday, I was talking to this girl, I was telling a story, but literally as I was speaking to her, I could see that she was losing attention. She was looking around to see if her friends were around. And I could see, it was clear as day, she didn't really want to be around me. And I ended up getting rejected that night. And about 2-3 hours in this night, I was having a shit time. I felt so awkward. I felt like I shouldn't have belonged there. I felt like I was a weird kid. But I went for a walk, and I bumped into some some old school friends, and they hyped me the fuck up. I was like, yo, it's so great to see you guys. We were really excited to see each other. And there was this girl walking past, and they were like, hey, and because they knew her, and we were talking to all of them. I ended up saying bye to them, and I kept talking to this girl for like an hour. And by now, this was the longest conversation I'd probably been in months, except for with my really close friends that I'm comfortable with. And this girl that I'd never really talked to, I was having a really long conversation. Some stuff went down, but I ended up walking back to the venue, and when I got there, I felt like I was on top of the world. I was confident, I just felt it, and as soon as I got back, I was getting into conversations easy as fuck. I was standing in a circle, I was throwing out jokes, I was like, yo, and then that happened, and I was making all these jokes, and I could feel everybody around me was really warm. But the thing about all this nice stuff is, it didn't happen just by that one night. It didn't just happen in one night. It happened because for the last week, I'd put in all my effort into becoming really social as possible. And so, even though I didn't do exactly the method my friend told me, the only reason that I think that's acceptable is because I had already had years of experience of being super social. And in a weird way, I did follow what my friend told me. He said, pick something that you're easy enough, comfortable with enough, and do that consistently. And I was comfortable enough to hang out with some close friends and get them to bring me on a night out. But then when we got to the night out, it was uncomfortable, but I was growing. I was getting used to getting into more conversations, and I had other people to hold me accountable. And that's when my social life blew up. That's when I felt like I could talk to people effortlessly again. I felt like I was on top of the world. But bro, I completely get it. You might still be struggling. This is a really fucking hard thing. So click the link in the description now, send me a message, send me what you're struggling with, and I will make a plan for you to become super social. Because I fucking hate how people are super lonely nowadays. Because when I was lonely, it was the worst period of my life. Click the link in the description now, and I'll work super fucking hard to make sure you make some really good friends. Bro, I've got a shortcut. The other day, I messaged a bunch of my friends. I was like, hey, do you want to go to the beach? Just a bunch of people who I haven't seen in months. Like, let's go to the beach. And we're going to hang out today, and it's going to be a really fun time. And the reason I tell you that story is because it's so easy to invite friends and have a good time. All you need to do is pick up your phone and say, hey, want to meet? Let's go to the beach at 4, this place. And I literally said that to a couple people, and they're all coming to meet me tonight, and it's going to be really fun. You know? It may not be the craziest thing in the world, but you can have the same experience too, where you just meet up with a bunch of friends. Just have the balls to reach out, message them right now and say, hey, let's go and meet up at this time. And don't be afraid of people not wanting to come out with you. Because I remember this time where I messaged this guy and I wanted to hang out with him. And I messaged him and I was like, hey, do you want to hang out on Friday? He's like, sorry man, I'm not free. And I messaged him that twice more for completely different dates. And he kept saying, oh, sorry man, I got exams. Sorry man, I'm not free. And now in hindsight, I just realized he never liked me. I had no clue because he was just being polite. And I don't think that's a bad thing. He never liked me enough to want to hang out with me, but he definitely liked me more because I was inviting him. Because nobody's ever going to take an invite as an offense. And so he respectfully declined and he said, sorry man, I'm not free. And said nice. He gave it to me nicely, said that he didn't want to meet me. And it was happily ever after. I wanted to tell you this story in case you think some crazy bullshit's gonna happen. Somebody's gonna hate you because you message them asking to hang out. That's not the case at all. If somebody doesn't want to hang out with you, they'll just let you know nicely. Sometimes, every blue moon, there's some dickhead who you say, hey man, want to hang out? They're like, nah, fuck you. Well, they're a fucking dickhead. Bro, I consider myself a nice guy. If somebody messaged me saying they wanted to hang out, but I didn't like him at all, I would still be nice. I'd say, sorry man, I'm not free. I'd come up with some excuse just to be polite. So never think that there's any problem with inviting somebody to hang out. If you really want to have a change in your life, message those people right now. Message somebody right now. But remember, I'm going to be uploading tons of value that I don't upload on my YouTube, on my Instagram. You can message me. I'll give you a personal plan. I'll give you all the help I can. I'll work super fucking hard, and I'll make sure that you make some amazing friends. Just click the link in the description and message me. Have a great day, bro. Take care.